So what does it mean to you to be the chair of the judges on such a prestigious year as well? 25, big number. We're very happy to be celebrating a quarter of a decade.
Yeah, I think having been in various juries in the past, the joy of being in a jury, trying to look at your colleagues' works around the world. One, you get to critique them in your own way, but more importantly, you get to learn a lot. And to be the chair of a jury of such a good bunch of senior industry stalwarts is interesting because A, you're trying to understand their opinion and where they come from. Also, you're trying to provoke debate in a very constructive way. So it's not every day that you get a chance to sit around the table with some senior minds in the industry and talk about work that's out there. And I think it's a learning experience for everyone. And as the chair of the jury, my job is to not just to keep time and shepherd these intellectuals, but it's also to provoke some serious conversation around what is good and what is not good in the industry. In some ways, I think there's a big responsibility for people around the table to try to push the work forward, try to ensure that the quality of creativity, the quality of media strategy, the quality of strategy overall in terms of global marketing is pushed forward and pushed beyond where it is now. So there's a bit of responsibility, there's a bit of, I think it brings a lot of humility to for people who sit around the table and look at work. I think it's also quite an honor to have been chosen by the industry to chair something as prestigious as this.
Fantastic. And you talk about the entries and the broad spectrum of them. Do you think actually there is a great broad spectrum in terms of the global media world? And actually it's interesting, you talk about the debate as well. There's a lot of discussions there. I see one of the key learnings is results. There's a lot of discussion about results and actually how you show the right results, how you show a campaign is successful. Are they some key learnings you've picked up from today? Are there any more?
A couple of observations, to be honest. The first one is, I think I'm absolutely loving the diversity of entries. We have had entries from the Middle East, from Guatemala, entries from Europe, obviously, entries from all over the world. There are entries from Asia. So I think I'm really happy to see that though the awards are based out of London, there are a lot of entries coming from around the world. There are lots of good work happening in many parts of the world are sort of eye-openers for us. We can see how different target audiences are evolving and where the world is going. So it's quite exciting. The other sort of observation is over the years, but obviously it feels a bit like it feels obvious, but there is a focus on proper ROI metrics, and I think lots of campaign entries have serious sales funnel metrics coming through in their submissions, which is heartening to see. This is something that we spoke about 4 or 5 years ago. ROI-based marketing at that point in time was a concept and a dream, but ROI-based marketing strategies have become a reality now. It's quite heartening to see all that.
And obviously helps when you're judging the papers as well.
Of course.
Have there been any campaigns you've looked at and thought, my word, I hadn't even come up with that idea or that concept? Have you been blown away by any?
There are quite a few, actually. I don't want to point out to one or two, but there have been moments when the jury have looked around and gone, wow, I wish we had done that back in our offices, or I wish I had come up with that idea. So I believe there are a few. You will have to, I think the viewers will have to wait and see.
Absolutely. And if you were looking to enter the awards, so HSBC were looking to enter some of their fantastic work over the last couple of years, what tips would you give to kind of give that award entry a chance of being a winner? What do you think it needs to have in it?
I think I've sort of answered this question earlier for one of my interviews as well. People who enter in these awards need to understand that they are communicating to a jury of 18 or 20 peers, and they might have not seen your advertising before, and B, they probably have different contexts. They are not your target audience. So you need to come in there and make the storyline and narrative really simple. Keep it simple-minded. Most people get blown by creativity, and creativity usually wins. And the last but not the least, I think showing effectiveness and showing ROI helps push the sort of entry through when it comes to a debate or when it comes to a tie. So going back, I think keep it simple, form a simple storyline or a narrative, spend some time, effort, and energy developing the video, and finally have some clearly defined metrics to end the entry, I would imagine.
And are there any campaigns you thought, you've gone through the judging process, we're almost at the end, are there any campaigns you think, my goodness, that was my favourite ad campaign of the last 12 months, but it hasn't entered?
I can't think of any. I think the diversity we've seen today, actually, I've seen some advertising here which I missed when they were campaigning, some content ideas which were brilliant. I think this year's award entries have sort of covered the entire spectrum. I'm pretty glad that most of these brands actually came forward and submitted entries.
Fabulous. And which is great news for us, which is wonderful. And then to celebrate, we're 25 years old, M&M, and M&M Awards are 25 years old. So I just want to ask you this final question. What do you think what product, person, or service has had the biggest influence on international media in the last 25 years?
I think over a really interesting question, actually. There's lots of things going in my mind. But in the Time magazine did a cover, and they said the person of the century was you. So I think user-generated content, I think consumers have really become the medium, which is what is interesting over the last 25 years. Gone are the days where there were media vehicles and trigger and response and response to stimulus and things like those. But it's really interesting to see that, I mean, I don't want to use the cliche of consumer-generated content, but what is becoming interesting by the day is, I think, thinking of consumers as advocates, thinking of consumers as the medium, thinking of consumers as communities for your brand is where I see the world has changed. And brands that embrace that, and brands that sort of know how to, they have the finger on the pulse when it comes to consumer insights, as well as be able to get people to love them, and also to sort of be the ambassadors for the brand, are the ones that will win in the marketplace, because the media landscape will continue to evolve, the digital landscape will continue to evolve, marketing landscapes and ROI measures continue to evolve, but the focal point needs to be the consumer.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. I'll let you get back to the last part of the day.